Well, the devil may have gone down to Georgia, but this weekend, it's the champs. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Rodriguez, and welcome to Dodgers Latest for a Friday. You can hit me up on Instagram and on X at JRodShow. We'd love that you keep subscribing to the channel. Send us your comments. We'll try to answer each and every one of them. Know that we read each and every one of them. Happy you're along for the ride as the Dodgers try to go back-to-back and get the 9th World Championship in Dodger history, and they're off to a good start. 21-10 as they start a big road trip. Old school, 3-city, no days off, 10 days, 10 games, and it starts in Atlanta with a weekend series against the Braves that are 14-16. And, well, when you look at the Dodger bullpen, they have thrown the most innings in all of baseball, 136 innings. And again, more bad news. Michael Kopech and Blake Trinan have been moved to the 60-day injured list. For Kopech, it seems more of that was expected as they're sort of building him up from his shoulder impingement. For Trinan, I don't know, that might be it for him in 2025. We wish him the best, but they both have been switched to the 60-day injured list. And the Dodgers have made a couple of moves. First of all, they have signed right-hander J.P. Fierson, who was on the Diamondbacks roster. He actually got into 3 games this year for the Diamondbacks. They quickly assigned him to AAA Oklahoma City, and they made a trade for another right-handed reliever, Ryan Lotus from the Cardinals. The Dodgers sent Lotus. The Cardinals sent Lotus to the Dodgers for some cash. Lotus and Fierson both sent down to AAA Oklahoma City to get themselves right and acclimated with the Dodger system. I am sure we will see one or both of these guys. Probably will see them during this road trip because, again, it's a 3-city, no day off, 10 games in 10 days, 3 in Atlanta, 3 in Miami, and then 4 in the desert with the Diamondbacks for the Dodgers return home and play the traveling road show that is the Athletic. So, interesting move with the Dodgers. You know, again, that's a lot of relief innings they have thrown. It seems like every night they're pitching 5, 6, 7 innings, and of course they've got some bullpen games in store because of these lacks of days off. So let's get into this weekend as they play the Atlanta Braves over at Truist Field. The Dodgers swept Atlanta back at the end of March, beginning of April at Dodger Stadium. Remember, the Dodgers, that was part of the Dodgers' 8-0 start, which was the greatest start ever by a defending champion. In Atlanta, they started the year losing their first 7 games. Well, things have gotten better for Atlanta after starting 0-7. They are now they've won 14 and only lost 9 to kind of get back into business in the National League East. Atlanta 14-16 overall, but again, when you lost your first 7 games, they will gladly take being 14-16, and they still don't have Ronald Acuna, who's the 2023 MVP, as he's recovering from an ACL tear. They expect him to be back maybe in a couple weeks, definitely by the end of May. And one of their best pitchers, Spencer Strider, he is not available as he's got a bad hamstring. They're also expecting him to be back in a couple of weeks, definitely by the end of May. So they're doing this sort of with bubblegum, wrapping paper, and some mirrors as the Braves try to get back in. And remember, Atlanta, a lot of people thought, yeah, I know the Mets are the favorite, and they and the Dodgers, you know, with the best records in baseball right now. But Atlanta is always a figure in the National League East. Off to that 0-7 start, no team has ever made the playoffs, by the way, losing their first 7 games to start the season. So something to keep in mind with the Braves. Let's break down the matchups this weekend. It'll be Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He will throw tonight. It's usual. It's a Friday night, right? Him and his impeccable 1.06 ERA. He draws Grant Holmes. We saw Holmes against the Dodgers March 31st at Dodger Stadium. He got the loss. Dodgers got to him 4 runs in 4 innings, and he also walked 4 batters. Saturday night, It'll be Roki Sasaki against Spencer Schwellenbach, who's got a great 2.87 ERA. And Sunday, that's also a night game. It's a Sunday night game on ESPN. All night games in Atlanta. It'll be Dustin May, who had a no decision against the Braves April 1st, went 5 innings, no earned runs. Remember, that was his first start in a while, coming off of his Tommy John and his rehab and his torn esophagus. That was an emotional night for Dustin May. He will face the Braves again. This will be Sunday night on national television, and he will draw Bryce Elder, who pitched and got a no decision against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium on April 2nd. So, but again, the Dodgers, once again, no Acuna, no Strider, so the Dodgers can try to make hay again and start this road trip on a good note. Now, speaking of Yamamoto, speaking of Sasaki, interesting, again, we've mentioned this almost ad nauseum. It's a 10-day, 10-game, 3-city road trip. Dodgers have had the benefit at the start of the season to have multiple days off. They've had at least one day off every week since the start of the season once they got back from Japan. So even though they've had these mammoth injuries to Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow, they've been able to sort of use the day off as a fifth starter. Well, that's not going to happen for a while. So what does that do to the basically the rotation of Yamamoto and Sasaki? They are right now on a program where they pitch once a week. Yeah, this will be for Yamamoto. This will be, again, another Saturday start for him. He has pitched the last 6. This will be his 6th consecutive start on a Friday. Now, it's worked out for him. 34 innings, 43 strikeouts, and an unbelievable 1.06 ERA. Same thing for Sasaki. This will be the 6th straight Saturday that he starts a game. After a rocky start in Japan, his ERA has gotten a little bit better, 3.55. Yet to get that first big league win. He's got 25 innings under his belt, but he will pitch Saturday. But pretty much they're on schedule, but then when they get to Miami and then they get to Arizona, that'll be the question. Do you hold Sasaki? Do you hold Yamamoto to pitch on their once-a-week cycle, which will be next Friday and next Saturday in the desert? Or do you have to move them up, pitch them that last game in Miami, that first game in Arizona? And if not, how do you make up for those 2 games? You know, they've already had a bullpen game. You figure they'll have a bullpen game against the Marlins, but you can't have back-to-back bullpen games, can you? That'll be an interesting choice for the Dodgers. What do they do if they go off script with Yamamoto and Sasaki, who have been very comfortable pitching once a week? Yamamoto's been the Friday guy. Sasaki has been the Saturday guy. Interesting when the Dodgers get to Miami and Arizona next week to see what they do with Yamamoto and with Sasaki. All right, speaking of which, what do you do as a starter? Well, one of them just became available. That's right, old friend Kenta Maeda got DFA, designated for assignment, basically released by the Detroit Tigers. Remember, he pitched 4 seasons, did Maeda, with the Dodgers, 2016 through 19. Pitched in the postseason 24 games for the Dodgers, mainly as a reliever. Got into the 2 World Series in 17 and in 18. If he's available, the Tigers are on the hook for that $10 million that they owe him this year. He's a free agent after this year. All the Dodgers have to do is sign him for the league minimum. The Tigers are responsible for everything else. Can the Dodgers get him right? Can Mark Pryor and this great pitching, brain trust get him right? Could he plug in those holes, especially on this road trip, as we wait for Snell and Glasnow? Interesting to see if Kenta Maeda is in the Dodgers' plans, available and cheap, and he knows the organization, and more importantly, they know him. Big road trip. We'll be back on Monday to break down the whole Braves series. Remember, all-night games out of Atlanta, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, and the Dodgers then head down to South Florida, take on the Marlins. It's always time for Dodger baseball, right here on Dodgers Latest.